What's going on, y'all? How's it going? I'm Justin. This is Jay Smith. This is Brett. We're here to talk about Texas Longhorn and the recent Colorado State game. Just have some quick reactions for y'all. Um, for me, I was actually at the game. First and foremost, it was hot. Don't let anybody be fooled. It was very warm out there. Tailgate was a great time. You can probably hear it in my voice a little bit. Um, but people were there and ready for the season. Everybody was hyped after last season to come out the way they did. The fan base was excited, electric, whatever verb you want to use there. But we had a great time. Um, all in all, I think we were pretty happy with the way the game went. I think it went about as expected. Um, I did not stay the whole game. I will be honest. It was one of those games where when we went up by 50, I said, okay, I'm good. I don't need to be here anymore. Um, but at the end of the day, I came out of it happy. I'm going to go back and watch a game probably another time or two. Obviously, it's different seeing it from at your seat versus watching it on TV. So I look forward to seeing it actually what it looked like from the TV version. Um, Brett, you had some thoughts last week on
hmm
Barron versus Horton. Did you want to recap anything about that?
Yeah, so some of the key matchups that we highlighted last week. Yeah, Jade Barron versus Torrey Horton. Torrey Horton is their best player on offense or defense. I think he had over 1,000 yards in his first two seasons with Colorado State. So he was the guy that they were going to be targeting over the middle. The key matchup was between him and Jade. Jade just moved over to boundary corner, so that was a big matchup. See if he could play some one-on-one man coverage. Uh, Torrey Horton's final stat line was 5 catches for 31 total yards on 10 targets. So he was absolutely shut down. In fact, their entire passing game was shut down. Their quarterback had a total of 60 passing yards.
Yeah, no, that the way they shut down Horton was pretty impressive. He is a pretty phenomenal receiver. I follow him in fantasy college football as well, so I've seen what he can put up.
He'll
Um,
be a draft pick, is what I've been hearing too.
Absolutely, especially with how deep in the way that the NFL teams are starting to use receivers these days. He's definitely
Yeah.
one of the guys. Ben, did you want to recap anything about what we kind of talked about in the preview, or did you want to move on and start talking about anything afterwards?
Yeah, I think quickly the run game, like I said in the preview game, I don't think it mattered really who we had back there. I think there were some decent holes. Not that there's nothing to clean up with the run game, but we saw three different guys make some good runs out there. We'll talk in a little bit about who I thought looked the best, but I did think we won the battle of the trenches quite easily.
No
We
doubt.
got them to third and long, probably third and eight or longer most of the time.
Yeah.
They were 5 for 14 on third down, 0 for 2 on fourth down. No sacks, but we did pressure the quarterback, which we expect to do against an inferior opponent. Um, and then I do think we had a few errors, but overall, pretty happy with how the team showed up for all 4 quarters.
Absolutely. I think I'm right there with you. Again, seeing it in person versus on tape, I think will give me two different feels, but I didn't love the way they played personally. All like it was good. It was okay. Like I said, we beat a bad team badly. We did exactly what we're supposed to do. I think they kept it very Manila, which was good, right? We're about to go into Michigan. We can talk about that later, but I wasn't, like, oh, I can't wait to see the next play. It was very much like, yep, like hard hat, go ahead, run forward, complete this pass. There was a
Yep.
pretty cool no look pass that
Jeez.
golden touchdown towards the end of the
Yeah.
first. That was pretty cool.
That,
Uh,
that that fooled the camera.
it
So
did, yeah.
you have not watched it on TV yet, but
No,
literally the camera starts panning out to the
the
field
outside.
wide receiver. Yeah.
I only saw that highlight and I was like, well, now I got to go watch the whole thing again.
Yeah.
But I thought, and that was a cool little flashy play. I was surprised by the starting receivers. Ben, tell me your thoughts about that. I believe they had Isaiah Bond, Matthew Golden, and he didn't get a target, but DeAndre Moore, I believe that was a
Yep.
three-star. So
Well, Justin, if you were here last week, we already knew that.
I
So,
knew DeAndre was starting, yes, but I thought
um,
they was going to start, so I did think that was odd.
yeah, I felt like spread the ball around. I
God, did
still,
they ever? I
I
think
still
10
don't.
receivers had catches.
Yeah, and I thought we talked about that a little bit in our pregame, Brett. Is that I thought we'd see a lot of different guys in there at wide receiver, and they did that. Like even Wingo catching passes early. Um, yeah, and I got that on my good stuff. The RPO game to Wingo on the slants killed
Yeah.
him about
Yeah.
2 times at least, maybe three. But
The other one where he caught the contested ball against the guy.
That
yeah,
was his first catch of the
That's
game.
one of them. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that was a man catch right there.
Yeah, yeah. So this grown man football, but it's fun to see all those wide receivers get in action, and I still don't think any of them kind of broke away from the pack. I still think there's kind of all in there. So I'm still looking for Bond to be the guy to break out, kind of based on some of the stuff that happened at Alabama last season. So
Well, I would say like it seems like he's going to be Quinn's go-to target. Like
Mhm.
there was a lot of third down passes where he was targeting Isaiah Bond. So it seems like that's going to be the connection. Now, I think Isaiah had 2 drops, which
yeah,
always is a question mark with him.
I think he had drops when we played against Alabama last year.
Oh, really?
I think he had some drops against us early in the game that would have that it was like wide open on some slant routes. If you go back and watch that tape,
Huh.
um,
Yeah.
I remember there being some drops, in poor Jalen Milrow against UT last year.
Yeah.
Didn't get much support from the rest of the team in that game.
Right. And Brett, so overall thoughts on the rush game. We've got Jarrett Gibson, 10 for 67 and a touchdown. Jaden Blue, 11 for 57, no touchdown. And Wisner, 5 for 22 and a touchdown. Those are, generally speaking, our top three running backs going into the season. What was your
Yeah.
thought on the rush game?
I thought the run game looked very vanilla. They didn't run anything complicated. They were just trying to shove bodies.
Yeah.
Uh, a couple of unfortunate mishaps. I think Hayden Connor got tripped up on one of Jaden Blue's rushes, ended up being a tackle for loss for 3 yards, but not because Jaden Blue got tackled in the backfield, it's because he tripped over Hayden Connor, who had also tripped. So there's a couple of early season mishaps there on the run game, but then there was also some big holes that led to 10 to 15 yard rushes, and that was constant.
Yeah.
So I think there's some things to clean up there, but overall on the offensive side, the rush game looked great.
Good deal. I was a little concerned, I feel like, about how we were going to go into the game, being able to run between the tackles. I
Mm,
mean, the heaviest back we have is 205, right?
yeah.
I'm still not excited about what I saw, but again, maybe they just kept it very vanilla and we got more to see. Because again, going against Michigan and the SEC, we're going to have some big boys up there. The biggest, I think, defensive tackle that Colorado State has is like smaller than our smallest, right? So, all things considered, we'll see how it goes. Don't know if I love running between the tackles, but I do believe that Sark can scheme it up and hopefully make it work.
Well,
Yeah.
I'd also, I'd mention it seemed like we were pass happy in the game.
Yeah.
We were running, and a lot of those like quick passes. So it's not true with passing game, not deep down the field air raid or anything like that. But a lot of swing passes and a lot of things like that. And it almost feels like number one, Sarkisian knows that his running back room's light, so he's not going to try to put them,
Yeah.
out there just to get hit or hurt.
Mhm.
And number two, it seems like, hey, maybe there is some run scheme that we're trying to protect Michigan from seeing.
Yep.
That just like we did against Rice and Alabama last year. Like Rice and Alabama, we did not run the ball great. Seemed like very vanilla. We were just trying to, showcase our running backs just to see what they could do in space. But then when we got to Alabama, we absolutely dominated on the offensive line.
Yeah.
Right. Kick out blocks were there, big holes. We ran the ball for the last 8 minutes of the game.
No.
I expect something similar next week when we have to play Michigan, and we have to establish the pass by dominant running.
And for those numbers, we threw 25 to 33 on passing for, obviously with Archer's numbers in there, for 355.
Yep.
And 41 times. So relatively balanced, but definitely actually ran, 8 more times.
Well, we ran the entire fourth quarter.
Exactly.
In garbage time. So take that out.
Right. Probably count the first 3 quarters. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of that in the RPO game, though, as well. Like I mentioned earlier, those passes to Wingo.
Mhm.
So some of these runs might have been, just what the defense is showing you. You got a guy wide open,
Yeah.
easy pitch and catch for at least it's an extension of the run game,
Yeah, it
and
is.
it's a lot better than Greg Davis's extension of the run game.
Okay.
Um,
Forsaken
but
name.
but that's what it is. So like when Arch was in there, I think one of his first drives there was an RPO big play to caught it on the slant, went up the sideline. Um, but it was RPO. I mean, you you beat the guy on the inside, you throw
Yeah,
it to him, and it could be a touchdown.
yeah.
Um,
You take what the defense gives you, and if that means death by a thousand needles, that's fine, right? How'd y'all like his little the flip? Was it out to Wisner?
dude,
Yeah,
that
no,
was
Silas Bolden.
dude,
Bolden.
that
That was
that was
Bolden.
sweet,
That was
and
awesome, man.
I think to me the difference between Quinn and Arch is the ability.
Yeah,
I
Arch
think
feels a
I
lot
think
more comfortable with it.
Arch is a true improviser.
Well, look
Whereas
at yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but you could
no,
look
you're
at
good.
Quinn through his pick. He was trying to improvise. They gave him a look he
Yeah.
wasn't sure
Yeah,
about. He
yeah,
had nowhere to go with the ball, and instead of just tucking it, running it, throwing it away, he threw it right to a guy. So, and Arch scramble,
yeah.
scramble. I mean, kind of has like that Mahomes. And he's not Patrick Mahomes, okay, but kind of moves like that and goes, okay, I can make a play happen without putting myself in danger, not putting the ball in a bad spot.
Yeah, there's just a different level that I feel when watching the two of them, and this show is not meant to compare those two guys. Quinn's clearly the starter, but
Yeah,
I think to me early on, I know it's against Colorado State, but Arch has a little more awareness on the pocket, what's around him, and
yeah,
knows when to step up and run and get out of there. Where sometimes Quinn, in an interception play, like he's just sitting and waiting, and that clock's got to go off faster.
yeah,
And you get rid of it, or you get 3 yards that you can, and we end that drive with the field goal. Um,
yeah.
so
I don't know. I don't know if I agree with this. I think Quinn is a really good pocket presence, and I think he's learned to step up. He's not one of those guys that's trying to go back. He constantly steps up in the pocket, and that's what that interception was. A bad interception. He shouldn't have thrown that, but he was stepping up in the pocket, and he was about to take off running. It's a third down, or was it second down? It might have been second down, but it was third down. And he stepped up in the pocket. He's about to cross the line of scrimmage. He sees three defenders converging on him, and he tries to do one of his miraculous, quick release, just quick throws there. And by chance, a defensive lineman gets his big paw on it.
Right.
I mean, it could have been, had he made that play, had that defensive lineman not luckily got his hand on it, had he made that play, we would have been saying the exact opposite about him, that he is the improv, the magician, and he's got such a quick release and he can make any throw on the field. It's so impressive. I think he's actually matured a lot in the pocket. And I think he's getting a lot better.
Yeah, absolutely. I do believe he's come a long ways. And I know you guys saw it from TV and saw replays of it. I saw it in person, immediately reacted, and I think we were texting, and I was like, "Yeah, you just can't throw that ball." Is seeing it, I was like, "You just
Yep.
can't throw it. You just got to go down, right?" But
Yep.
that's okay. Like learning, not a big deal. At the end of the day, it didn't hurt us. In fact, I think Texas went 7 for 7 in the red zone. Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
All right?
Dominated in the red zone. And how about that out pass, that out route that he threw to, I think it was Matthew Golden's first touchdown?
yeah,
Oh my gosh, just
Yeah,
like that ball was beautiful. And
yeah,
I'm such a big, like, you get within the 5 yard line, just like
right.
pound the rock. Don't throw anything for risk. But that ball was just amazing. And I like that because it kind of instills that confidence. Hey, we can pass and run the ball
Yep.
close. Last year, it felt like when we got that close to the end zone, it kind of suffocated our pass game and we
Yep.
really couldn't do anything with it.
Yep. It was throw a jump ball to AD or bring in the package and see if Sweat or Murphy can get you in. So yeah, yeah. Um, so we only kicked one field goal, but I thought Auburn looked great. How
Hair
about
looked good. Hair looked really good.
we punted just one time? That guy's a true freshman. So I wanted to ask you guys because we didn't really get to see a true freshman punt except for the one time. And had zero hang time on it, which is what a lot of the spring reports been saying about him. But are we nervous about Michael Kern, true freshman, punting, moving forward, moving into the big house next week? And I know that's more preview, but just wanted to recap special teams real quick to see what you guys had a thought on that.
I mean, yeah. his first significant punts are going to come in the big house against 110,000 rowdy fans
Right.
as a true freshman.
Defending champ.
Um, and we will have to punt next week. I
Yes,
mean,
100%. We're not going to just
against Michigan, a really good, stout Michigan team. We're going to just take your points, take your licks.
Yep.
So, yeah, that does make me a little bit nervous. But that's a risk you run when you play at Colorado State in the first game of the season. You're not going to punt a lot, or you
Yeah,
shouldn't punt a lot,
you
unless you're
should.
maybe like a shitty team like Texas Tech playing Abilene Christian or something.
Yeah,
But
as long as we don't do what Colorado State's punter did against Michigan, I'll be happy. Don't bobble it, catch it. Like work on practice all week catching the punts and getting it away. The end result will be what it is. We got to play the field position game though when we play against these top defenses.
Mhm.
I was more concerned about, we did have one good punt return, but I called it last week where I thought if we're going to have a big special teams play, it was going to be on punt return. We had one to end the first half, but late in the game, I think, or maybe it was third quarter, just get away from it. If it's, they're so that almost was a turnover in like the 10-yard line, around the 10. So, it's first game, guys want to make plays and get their highlight reel. So I understand that, but you gotta know when to just, let the ball go, let it be down and let your offense have a chance.
Yeah, don't be the hero in that situation. Which luckily they were able to,
Yeah.
hold on the
Yeah.
shutout, right?
Yeah.
And
But dude,
um,
that was so exciting.
yeah, first time since '04 to do it in a season opener. That brings back good memories.
Wow. Is
Not
that
that,
really true?
yeah, first time as a
Wow.
season opener that we've held the team to a shutout.
Oh, the defense looks so fast.
Yes. Now, honestly, the pass defense looked way improved. Like you can tell all the cross training, everything that's been happening has been awesome. Um, Wanted to ask one more question. Oh, so this is when I was already out and I got to go back and watch it. But sounds like we had an interception at the end of the game to seal the deal, more or less. To
Oh,
seal.
dude, you gotta go watch that. That was like highlight reel catch.
Okay,
Back in the
Wardell Mack, right?
um
It was Ward Mac.
yeah,
Okay,
27, I believe.
that sounds right.
But yeah, it was they were driving and I think they were in the red zone and or maybe just a little outside, but they were driving. I think a minute or so left and just kind of overthrew the pass a little bit and he kind of dives, toe taps.
It
It,
was
it,
sick.
Heck yeah. So he looked like a receiver. That's what
dude,
I'm
it
talking
it was sweet.
about.
Hey,
Awesome.
I want to bring that up too. I thought our cornerbacks made plays on balls really well
Yep.
yesterday. And
We
like,
did.
Ben, I think you brought this up in the season preview. We're used to Ryan Watts being out there and just kind
Yeah.
of throwing his hands up in somebody's face trying to face guard him
Yeah.
at the end. But
Turn your head around, find the
yeah,
ball.
I mean
Yeah.
same with the Jade Barron interception.
Right.
He wasn't. I mean, he was sitting there running with the receiver from the backside, gets his head turned around, makes a great interception.
Yeah.
That was so refreshing to see.
Mhm.
When you're playing the receiver the right way, and these guys are talented enough, like they should know when to turn and look.
Yeah.
And
Well,
Proud
I
boys can tell you sometimes.
yeah,
I pinpointed it out to him. I was watching the Georgia Clemson game with my dad before the Texas game came on, and I mean, Georgia's defense looks great. They gave up 3 points, and I don't know who their cornerback is, but the cornerback made an unbelievable interception, just sitting there running in the hip of Clemson's wide receiver. Kubanek throws it out, kind of like a deep sideline pass to his wide receiver, and that cornerback just stays on that wide receiver's hip, turns his head, and makes an unbelievable catch for an interception. I'm just like, man, when was the last time we saw a Texas cornerback do that? And then,
Right.
sure enough, we made a couple of similar plays. Not as pretty as that Georgia cornerback's interception, but still, like, got your head around, made a play on the ball. It was just so nice to see.
Yeah, I think those guys have some pride, and I think it showed. We had 5 passes defended, obviously 2 interceptions.
Yeah.
You could see they were challenged last year. We didn't have quite the men that we needed to play the way that they wanted to play. Safeties are overmatched and just honestly outclassed in some ways. And you can tell with the guys you brought in, the cross training that's happening, the new safeties in place, and moving the DBs around kind of freely. I mean, yes, you have your designated, boundary and slot guys, and but the way that the safeties are able to actually talk to each other and put people in the right spot, you got three totally different safeties out there who are growing and learning from each other. I think it's the right way to build that back end is to be versatile like that. So as long as we can stay healthy, obviously across the board, I think that's going to be exciting. Um, Ben, did you have any final thoughts on anything past game defensive wise?
No, just yeah, good coverage all around. Um, I think it's an improved secondary over last year.
Oh, big time. Yeah. Awesome. Well, guys, I think that about wraps it up, unless y'all have any other final thoughts or questions, about what it was like in the
We,
stadium or anything like that.
I would just add my final thought is one thing we haven't touched on is Anthony Hill and David Binda look
Oof,
like shots out of cannons
you're right. We didn't really
flying to the ball.
the
I
linebacker.
mean, our defensive line did a good job, you know, uh, creating some havoc down on the interior defensive line. But as soon as that gap opened up, and here comes the running back, Anthony Hill or Bindo were putting their helmet on somebody. I mean, fast.
Was the first play of the game for Colorado State a tackle for loss or something like
Yeah,
it?
it was a
It
screen.
was a screen pass to Torrey Horton.
Oh,
Yeah,
and we just blew it up. We blew up the
Anthony Hill. That
blocker.
was Anthony
Oh my
Hill.
gosh,
Yeah,
dude.
getting outside. That was
That was
unbelievable.
like we set the tone on that first play, and then the second play they tried to run it, and I think line of scrimmage maybe.
yeah,
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, the defense was flying to the ball all game, like multiple guys going there,
yeah,
and that's what you have to have because broken tackles are going to happen. You got to always have that second guy, and
yeah.
I
So
think
that was
I think that was a game changer last year. I think the team showed that last year, whereas like Charlie Strong era, you don't have the team flying to the ball, and lot more big plays were given up. A true Big 12 defense
yeah.
in those days versus now. I do think we have an SEC defense. I think we did last year,
Mhm.
outside the secondary in some instances, but I think we got the bodies in the inside, the linebackers. Safety play, I think, was big in the game because there were two or three runs where they did get past the linebackers, but our safeties limited them. Um, so
Yeah.
I thought that was huge, and I texted Brad. I think Taff had a big hit on a guy in the
Oh,
middle.
second
Yeah.
series. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and it was and doing his job, but also hey, he let him know like don't come down the middle here. You're gonna get smacked.
Yep.
Uh,
Um, yeah, it's actually one thing that totally slipped my mind, and I think it's kind of like we talked about in the beginning, is that like it happened more or less exactly how we thought it would. Like we took care of business, let's move on, right? Not even thinking about some of the highlight plays that like Ant Hill and some of these other guys made because it's just like, no, I just expected that, right? Like Ant Hill's coming out party against Bama last year. It was like, okay, well, that's just what to expect moving forward. And now he's just another year in the system, growing bigger, faster, stronger, et cetera. So I mean, you just kind of see him make the play on the first play of the game. You're like, that's exactly what I expected. Right. And it kind of just totally slipped my mind of like, think about some of these highlight hits and highlight plays that there was all around the field. But again, against an inferior opponent, you kind of expect it. So, and Ben, I think you also had a note. You mentioned Gunnar Helm, that big long catch
Yeah,
early.
he had
That
some
was
yak.
awesome. Yeah, that was awesome. I mean, he kind of glided when that guy dove, and he just kind of glided over him and just kept moving. It was
Yeah,
weird.
that was you know, that should be on big men balling on whatever ESPN. Because he doesn't look all that graceful, but he is graceful. And
It is. I
and
think he's underrated. Yeah.
and I
I
was
think he looked fast for
I
being as
think
yeah,
he
big as
looked
he
pretty
is.
good.
I was
Yeah.
curious. He had it's only two catches to one, but he seemed to me like he's the pass catching tight end. Do you guys do we have consensus there? Or do we think we're going to see
No, I mean, I think
Nye Blackmore?
we had three tight ends with catches yesterday
Yeah,
in the first half. So Nye Black definitely had. I think he had a catch,
yeah, he had one.
and then we saw a Juan Davis sighting. I think he had maybe a catch or two.
He had one catch for 11 yards.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. You hear a lot of mixed reports. It sounds like Gunner is actually mainly the run blocker, but man, I'll tell you, after last year, again, this is my fantasy brain coming in. Like I saw JT doing what he was doing, so I went and looked at the depth chart. Obviously, Gunnar Helm was like, so I picked up Gunnar and started watching him a little bit more last year, even. And I thought he showed some flashes of being able to make those plays. He's not going
Yeah.
to outrun everybody, but he's solid. He's got
I think
hands. He's in the right
he's
spot.
sneaky.
Yeah,
He is sneaky.
People aren't going to pay attention to him, and he just leaks out, and he's just catch it, Jason Witten. You don't have to get any
right.
yards really,
Yeah,
but the third down catch, like
yeah,
someone that can catch the ball, unlike Jadon Blue on the little wheel route.
right.
We got to clean that up.
Yeah.
But
So I'm
He's
excited.
the sneakiest 6'6" man I've ever seen.
I watching him catch and run like that, and the way he was like, "I'm not going down. You either push me out of bounds, or I'm going to push you down," was George Kittle-esque. Now, I'm not saying he's George Kittle, right? But like when you watch Kittle catch the ball, he gets it, and he's like, "Who am I going to hit?" Right? He flips it around. He's like, "I'm going to
Yeah.
dodge you. You're not taking me down. I'm scoring, knocking you over. You're pushing me out of bounds," and that's exactly what they had to do because he just has a, I don't know, like a mindset of nobody's taking me down. And I think that one catch and run just kind of taught me a lot more, or made me feel a lot more comfortable about having him as tight end one. Now, is that going to be the case? Who knows? Sark's talking about having constantly six receivers in. Maybe there's two or three tight ends that he feels good about all the time. So I think it'd be exciting to see how things evolve throughout the season for sure.
Yeah.
Um, but I think in summary, again, Texas took care of business. There was really never a doubt that we were not going to win the game. It was, can they hold the shutout? And they didn't have to do a whole lot to do it. Played a ton of players. I think they played 51 players in the first half or something like that. So they got a ton of people in, a lot of good
Yep.
reps. Um, we'll see what happens as we roll into next week going into Michigan. But all in all, that was a good game.
yeah, I want to throw in two more quick points. Number one, like the slow start, we gotta fix the penalties on the center, the snap infraction. Got us into third and long early. That's why that first drive got stalled, and then there was a false start by Majors on a 4th and 1. So can't have, I mean, it's gonna be loud in the big house. Can't have those things happen. But I think it's first game. Those things are bound to happen. But what I liked was that we didn't let that define us the whole game. We got it cleaned up after the first quarter and then dominated. And
Yep.
holding the shutout, even with the backups in, getting touchdowns with our second offense. I think those are things we wanted to see. And that's my second point is what we talked about in the pregame show is we need to get the starters out in the third quarter. That happened. We got, like you said, 51 guys in the game.
In the first
Uh,
half.
yeah, first half. So yeah, we got a lot of playing time for the guys all around. Even the walk-on running back got a carry,
Yeah.
which was cool on Sark. I gotta love Sark for doing that
Mhm.
in the garbage time. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think next week, yeah, just from this game, clean up some of the penalties on third down
Yeah.
or 4th and 1. Just and then the interception from Quinn. I think you know I understand, yeah, trying to make a play. But if that happens against Michigan, they might intercept it and take it to the house.
Mhm.
So, and but we'll get into that when we do our pregame. But yeah, overall, excited for the season. I'm more confident after the shutout and after seeing the second half onward about this team's potential than I was, I think, going into the game.
Yep. I'm with you. I think they play like they're playing, continue to grow, don't make any, don't have mistakes, stay healthy. Playoffs shouldn't be a problem, but next week will be a fun test.
Yeah.
Good deal. All
All
right,
right.
y'all. That wraps it up for us today. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see y'all again next time.
Hook 'em.